Something appears to be stalking them, and again, Max tries to logic her out of whatever she's experiencing. He tries to come up with a solution, until everyone else— Wait, why is everything zooming out? What's up, y'all? My name is Soleil, and welcome to Recap Theater, a series where I take a game and recap it for your viewing pleasure. Today, I bring you The Quarry, an interactive drama horror game where 9 camp counselors must survive their last night at Hackett's Quarry summer camp amongst some supernatural creatures and some violent locals. There are some really cool things to check out for this game, including like the cast doing a let's play, reenacting voice lines, behind the scenes on like how they made certain scenes, and then just how they made the game itself, and those videos will be down in the description below if you want to check them out. One thing about me, I love games where you can make choices, and there are all types of different outcomes for this game, of course. Ones where, everybody lives, everybody dies, or even becomes something else. Today we are exploring the ending where everyone lives. So, if you want to know what happens in The Quarry's best ending, get cozy, grab your snacks, and let's recap. 2 camp counselors, Laura and Max, are headed to the camp, Hackett's Quarry, and they realize that they're lost. While they're both looking at the map, for some reason, something is in the road and they swerve off of it. Max realizes there's an issue with the car, and Laura goes to get the toolbox and has the opportunity to snoop and read Max's mail. She hears a noise while helping and goes to investigate. Down there, she sees a poster for the Harem Scarum, a traveling sideshow, and some items that go with it. After a whisper in her ear, she goes running to get back to Max. They attempt to drive out, but they're stuck in the mud, and out of nowhere, a police officer approaches their car, equipped with the creepy banjo music. He asks if they're okay, investigates the vehicle, and then asks what happened. He appears to be suspicious of them and tells them to keep the car running. He pulls their vehicle out of the mud and wants to know what they're doing out that late. And Laura explains that they're going up to the camp a day early. A grave mistake. After a creepy pause with the most excellent line delivery, he tells them that
you're not gonna make it to Hackett's Quarry. Not tonight.
The sheriff wants to show them where it is on the map, and oddly only wants Laura to come out to be shown. The creep factor increases by 100. This man said, I just want to, show you where it is. I got a little something. So if you turn here, Laura finesses the quarry location out of the sheriff and gets back in the car. He is oddly insisting that they go to the motel instead. From there, with the location though, they head to the camp. The 2 go up to the building and no one is there. They get into a little tiff. Max annoyed that they drove all the way out there and Laura did not make sure that Mr. Hackett knew they were coming. Laura investigates the building and finally comes out to something that leads to a bunker. In the crack of the doors, they see someone who runs off when she calls out to them. And see, I can't speak for everybody else, but I know my people. I know my people. That's all we would have needed to see. You know what? That ain't none of my business. It's none of my business. So let me go ahead and get my tail back in the car because it's sus around here. She goes to get Max and they decide on an object to break into the bunker with. They get the doors open and go down inside. Laura finds a bloody collar that's too big for a dog. Laura then finds bones. Okay, so now we're up to 3 strikes. We got a person lurking down there, somebody, something. We got a bloody collar and we got some bones. How many more things do you need to see? Something appears to be stalking them, and again, Max tries to logic her out of whatever she's experiencing. He tries to come up with a solution, until everyone else— Wait, why is everything zooming out? Max pretty much got his shoulder shredded from off screen. Here you have the option to leave Max or help him. Since Laura got him into this mess, hopefully the player would choose to help him. But he is dragged back into the bunker by an off-screen scoundrel, and Laura is injected with a sedative by, you guessed it, Sheriff Sus. And he's pressed. But we been knew he had something to hide. So from here, we're introduced to this game's host, if you will. So she's a fortune teller, and she explains how you're looking for her cards that give you hints about outcomes in the game. Chapter 1 begins with the counselors concluding their summer at Hackett's Quarry and packing up to go home. Two of the counselors, Jacob and Caitlin, are having a conversation about what happened between him and one of the other counselors, Emma. Okay, so I'm gonna save us all some time and I'm gonna break it down like this. So pretty much Jacob and Emma had a thing during the summer, but Emma's a city girl and she was not trying to be bothered with Jacob outside of the camp, right? Right. So Ryan seems to have a couple of admirers, Dylan and Caitlin. It's still a mystery to me. I'm still trying to Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc. solve that mystery of why they seem to be so pressed over Ryan when he has the personality of a slice of dry toast. Looks are fine. I just don't understand what's the allure, but that's not my business. Anyways, lastly, Nick and Abby, there's some tension between them two, they're both a little bit, shy, a little bit unsure, but we'll see how everything unfolds between them two later. Caitlin gives Jacob the errand of grabbing the last of the bags, which gives us a chance to explore the lodge and get introduced to Dylan, aka King Troll, who thought it was funny to close Jacob out of the cabin, and Nick, who's just there and going along with it. We briefly encounter Ryan, who's listening to a horror podcast and nothing else. There's a sign up that says deer hunting is canceled, which alludes to something else killing the deer. After grabbing the bags, Jacob and Caitlin continue their discussion, and Jacob brings up Caitlin's infatuation with Ryan. Basically, they give us the tea on how Emma dumped Jacob and that she didn't see them making it work after, them going to different schools, etc., etc. They check the van, and Jacob asks what he would have to do to cause it to break down, so they would have to spend another night there. I want everyone to take a look at this face. Take a look at this face, ladies and gentlemen. This face is the cause of everything that happens during the game. In fact, everyone should sue him specifically for pain and suffering. He causes the chain of events that would have never happened if the van was working and they could just go home. And also, side note, why would Caitlin tell him how to sabotage the vehicle? What was her problem? So Jacob steals the rotor arm. Dylan and Nick show back up and hand them their phones. And next we're introduced to Abby and Emma, who need to get their bags as well. Here the player has a chance to explore the camp and pick up a toy bunny that belonged to one of the campers. Abby finds an empty vial. That I'll talk about later. Emma greets Abby on a golf cart and they roll out. They talk about confidence, and with Emma being an online personality, it comes in handy. She makes a fake it till you make it suggestion to Abby and tells her she should practice by talking to Nick, and Abby is hesitant because she doesn't know how it will work out. This was actually a cute moment, and I like this conversation way better than the previous one. As they head back, it appears that someone is watching through the window. This is gonna be good. Abby says her cute little hello to Nick, and Emma acts like she's going to put her bags in the van when Jacob intervenes. She says it with a pause too, as if to give him time to interject, oh, I guess we gotta get these bags in the van. But then turns around and is like,
I can take care of my own bag, thank you.
What?
And Abby comes in the background yeah, she can get it herself. Is there an echo in here? Abby does all that just to let Nick help her with her bag. Look at how excited she looks. Ryan shows up and Caitlin asks what he was up to. He tells them he was listening to a podcast about the Hag of Hackett's Quarry, and they proceed to say it 30 times.
What's the Hag of Hackett's Quarry?
You don't know about the Hag of Hackett's Quarry.
I don't think she wants to know about the Hag of Hackett's Quarry.
Can we just please stop saying the Hag of Hackett's Quarry?
Chris Hackett, shows up and they ask for the van key, but he needs to go back into his office and get it. Ryan follows Chris and tries to take the moment to talk to him about an important life decision he wants to make. Chris gets a call and Ryan takes the hint to leave the room. Here, the player has the choice to eavesdrop. This conversation is interesting. Why do the camp counselors need to leave? Who's the man on the phone? And who's gone quiet? And why do they want to get him? Ryan gets caught eavesdropping and Chris continues to look for the keys. Ryan goes into his decision about staying and taking care of his family or going to animation school. It's mentioned here that Caleb and Kaylee left early and he didn't get to say goodbye to them. Chris finally gets his keys and they head back to the van. He tries to get everyone in the van, and when Jacob starts it, of course, it doesn't work. Chris tries it and it still doesn't work. Then he proceeds to freak out. If this is not a red flag, I don't know what is. Chris gets into his car and makes Ryan promise that he'll keep everyone inside and lock the doors, and he gets the ASAP. Not even 2 seconds after he's gone, Dylan suggests that they party. Jacob, aka Captain Custer for brains, of course agrees. Everyone but Abby and Ryan jump on the bandwagon, and their only chance at safety will be going up in flames along with this bonfire. It's almost as if no one saw Chris just have a mental breakdown. Jacob delegates the tasks to prepare for the bonfire party. The kids are being watched through a scope from just beyond the camp. 2 men appear to be watching the kids. One covers himself in blood to match the other, and they put up a hunting season sign. But hunting what? Jacob and Emma are trying to get into a cabin to get some supplies for the party. He successfully picks the lock and starts looking for beer. They find a safe but can't open it. Jacob uses this opportunity to, of course, be as immature as possible. And Emma finds more harem scarum flyers as she looks through storage. Jeez! Continuing her search, Emma comes upon another locked door, and Jacob picks his way inside. He finds beer, and she finds camping supplies with some mysterious scratches. And a pow! Yeah, go Emma! She also has the code to the safe now so she can get the shotgun shells. Jacob ends up finding something nostalgic.
Pop, pop, peanut butter, butter pops. Pop, pop, pop them in your mouth. Pop.
Love that. Ryan and Dylan go back to Chris's office and he asks more about Ryan's podcast interests. Dylan wants to go through Chris's stuff, but Ryan is apprehensive. Here's what they find: a trap door, a notebook that lists the missing counselors from the prologue, Laura and Max, and a secret door that leads to a surveillance room. And might I add, the way that Ryan was doing like verbal gymnastics to defend Chris and these weird cameras set up in this room, I'm like, what are you, his attorney? Dylan also sees a man all up in the camera and says it's probably nothing. If this was the real world, you would not last long, sir. They also find a map in that room, a bedroom, and a bathroom with a lot of medication. Next, Nick and Abby seem to be getting firewood. They're deciding which way to go, and Nick and Abby keep walking and they notice one of the cameras. Abby sits down to draw the landscape and Nick compliments her art skill. As she's drawing, there's a sound that comes from behind them. It's a baby boar. Now there's a thing that we say about the wild. You don't play with certain baby animals because you never know when the mother is coming. We go to the campsite for the bonfire and Dylan tells Caitlin about the trail cameras. Dylan starts making a playlist and Abby and Nick show up with some firewood. And Emma and Jacob arrive with their supplies. Caitlin notices the gun. Nick wants him some peanut butter pops.
Pop, pop, peanut butter, butter pops. Pop, pop, pop them in your mouth. Pop.
Jacob suggests they shoot for them and Caitlin goes to be the judge and make sure they are using the gun safely. Long story short, everyone does better than Jacob. The bonfire has finally started and they decide to play truth or dare. Dylan asks Abby if she's ever slept with anyone. All in her business. Emma dares Ryan to kiss Caitlin or Dylan. Ryan dares Jacob to jump over the fire pit naked. They decided not to do that, thankfully. Caitlin dares Emma to kiss her choice of Jacob or Nick. She chooses Nick and gets to tonguing this man down. I don't know how I felt about this. I get that she wants to be over Jacob and everything like that, but that was a bit too much. Just very mean-spirited. You know Abby likes this man and she's having trouble talking to him. Like, it just gives like bad friend. That's number one. Number two, Caitlin an undercover op for daring her to do that. I don't know what Caitlin be on sometimes. Let me be honest. The hunters were not impressed. We cut to Abby, who is contemplating her reaction, considering that maybe she may have overreacted, and the creepy vibes are settling in. Abby starts to hear voices, and before things get to be too much, Nick calls out for her. They reunite and have this Dawson's Creek conversation about what happened, and that they do have feelings for each other, and blah blah blah. You can kiss Nick here, but I'm not kissing that man after he was tonguing down Emma. Gross. Now let's get back to the growling beast in the shadows, shall we? The growling gets louder and Nick and Abby investigate. They deduce that it's not a boar or a bear, and Nick, where you going? Abby tries to help him and gets pounced on. There's someone shooting from off screen and the beast runs off. Abby clears out and ends up leaving Nick anyway. Back to the Dawson's Creek vibes. Jacob is literally crying over Emma's behavior earlier. I'm conflicted because a part of me wants to get on this man for crying about an obvious city girl, but men should be allowed to show their feelings. He really liked that girl. Emma comes to talk to him, reminding him that their hookup was just supposed to be summer fun. She pours salt in the wound by going into detail about the kiss and Nick not being so innocent. Jacob tries to walk away, but Emma tells him to go grab some towels. On his way to grab them, Jacob, or the player rather, finds more evidence and clues to the unfolding story. The newspaper of the hikers going missing, the Chackett and Thackett thing, dates in a notebook. He finds literally everything but towels. He comes back and she's ditched her clothes and wants to go for a swim. This is definitely giving me Friday the 13th. Love it. They spend some time together and it's actually kind of sweet. Jacob tries to convince Emma one last time to give things a shot, but she's still not trying to hear it. She swims off and there's a scream and a gunshot in the background. At that moment, Jacob realizes here you can choose to dive in and try and get the rotor arm and find a bloated corpse floating around in the depths of the water. Back at the bonfire, the others are making jokes about the other counselors and what happened earlier. They're interrupted by a scream and go investigate it. Abby comes up to them yelling about Nick. Ryan goes to help Nick and Caitlin takes Abby to have a look at her. You can choose to go the quickest route here or stay on the path. Ryan arrives as a man is dragging Nick away. He shoots the man and he leaves. Jacob is running to find where the shots came from. He is caught in a trap and ends up strung up and trying to get down. The man from earlier approaches and cuts him down. The player can choose to throw dirt here as a distraction and run off. Alright guys, I don't want this video to be too long, so I'll stop it here. What do you guys think so far? For those that haven't played this game, are you enjoying the story? If so, you should definitely go play it. That's it for part 1. Stay tuned for part 2. And follow me so you don't miss any videos.